So Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas are just around the corner, and Govee has just released their third and latest iteration from the Govee Current Lights product line, which as you can see, it's got a Pro in the name, which these days is sort of thrown around pretty loosely when it comes to new tech. But I want to tell you guys right off the bat that Govee's new Current Lights Pro deserves every bit of the title change, because they really took a lot of the feedback from the second iteration to heart. In fact, they've improved on the Pro to such a degree over the Current Lights 2 that it could almost serve as a direct sequel. But the decision to go with that naming convention kind of makes me wonder what on earth they could possibly be planning for the third installment. Anyway, I want to kick things off first with taking a look at how Govee has modified the overall dimensions of this unit in comparison to the Current Lights 2. They've taken the height down ever so slightly by about 0.8 inches, and they've increased the overall width for the Pro over the Current Lights 2 by nearly 5 inches. So we now get a bit more coverage laterally versus vertically, which I always thought was most important where layout is concerned for a digital canvas template. The installation method, which we'll get more into, has also been significantly improved and provides a much cleaner and finished look with what Govee is calling the fixed mounting bar system. Bead density, which is a major area that I've been very vocal about in the past, has been substantially increased for the Pro model as well over the second gen version. The Current Lights Pro now features a total of 960 light beads per unit versus 520 for the previous. So that's 440 more light beads, attributing to higher brightness and greater detail of imagery, equating to a 30 by 32 pixel gray matrix. Now, Govee was able to achieve this upgrade in bead density by bringing the bead segments closer together, so the spacing between each of them is about 2.16 inches versus roughly 3 inches for the second gen. The beads are also more closely together per line segment. The Pro has a distance of about 1.75 inches from bead to bead versus the older model that has a distance of about 2.5 inches. Additionally, you can splice up to 3 individual units for the Pro to create a massive smart lighting canvas that has a total coverage of 15.6 by 5.7 feet. Now, to coincide with the improved clarity, Govee also integrated a new high-speed image processing chip that can now support up to 2,000 kilobytes for higher capacity files and more complex animation handling at a 30 Hz refresh rate. In short, this means that the Current Lights Pro images are more vivid, richer, and overall have more clarity and smoothness. We'll get more into it in a little bit, but this is a huge win if you're like me and utilize a lot of custom GIF files. Waterproof rating for the Pro has also been upgraded from IP65 to IP67, adding even more possibility where you can ultimately install it. And finally, as far as direct comparisons go, the previous model could only support a max of 10 customizable templates inside the Govee Home app, where the Pro model can now support up to 30 customizable canvases. And at this point, Govee is going to have to start offering online digital courses to master the more intricate, complex animations. But before we get further into the weeds, I want to quickly show you what all comes inside of the box for the Govee Current Lights Pro. At a glance, here's everything included inside. And as you can see, it's a full comprehensive kit that includes everything that you need to get up and running. First up, we have Govee's all new fixed mounting bar pieces. There are 5 of them in total, and I personally think that this is an ingenious design because it allows you to completely bypass the included mounting hooks, which no longer use adhesive, by the way, if you're not installing them onto a string or directly onto curtains or drapes. Each mounting bar acts as a clamshell that securely snaps around multiple wire adapters, and it even has a dedicated channel up above that secures and conceals the long wire that runs in between the 2 repeater boxes. You can secure the fixed mounting bars with the individual mini screws by using the adhesive backing or both. But if you go the adhesive route, definitely plan things out carefully. Next up, we have the plastic straps that are used to help each line of beads stay fixed in place. They're more transparent this time around, and each piece is much longer than the previous version, so there are less breaks and the segments are less susceptible to movement. And finally, we have the control box that acts as the brain of the entire operation, and it also acts as a bridge between the lights themselves and the power adapter. Okay, so now I want to jump into the features with first showing you guys a couple more side-by-side comparisons of the Govee Current Lights 2 versus the Pro. For these examples, I have both of the lights attached to a string using the provided hooks from each kit. This was just a temporary setup to give me more flexibility, but hopefully you can make out the increased sharpness of the animations for the Pro, especially when using the identical uploaded GIF file for each model respectively. More vibrant colors, smoother performance, and additionally, you'll notice that the wider matrix for the Pro captures more of the image, while the edges of the older model are cropped off. But this isn't just for GIF files. A lot of Govee's preset scenes feel less jerky, with details being easier to make out in closer proximity. whereas with the older models, you kind of have to take a few more steps back for everything to come into focus. Now, when it comes to the preset scene options inside the app, Govee has added more than 50 additional scenes for the Pro model for a grand total of over 250. And as you'd expect, they cover a wide variety of categories and genres. My personal favorites are the emoji lineup, which are seriously spot on. And I really hope that Govee continues to add to this list because there are just so many emojis that we use on a daily basis. The universe and the abstract categories are also among my favorite. And I also really like the Milky Way scene and the sunset scene as well, which are located in the natural subsection rather than the universe. But coming up on the holidays, without question, it's the festival scenes across Halloween and Christmas that a product like this is truly made for. There's seriously a lot to cipher through, from vampires, jack-o'-lanterns, witches, goblins, ghosts, to Santa Claus, Christmas trees, and so on. And on top of that, the Govee AI bot has gotten even faster and can generate festive images at the drop of a hat, which can be saved and used as is or further modified with an exhaustive 30 custom layers available. Or you can be a lot more hands-off and generate scenes from the community using ShareSpace. Check out this Xbox animation created by the user Gary Gage. That is seriously cool. And I also have to give him a special shout out for creating these awesome Halloween theme animations, because I'm definitely stealing these for Halloween. Over on the music tab, Spectrum, Meteor Shower, and Soundwave are my personal favorites, and they coincide with the audio around you, either using the inbuilt mic on the control box or the mic on your cell phone. Moreover, the Finger Sketch tab you can think of as the simplified form of the DIY tab. Here you have a single template to doodle on, and you have 9 effect types that you can apply on top of that. And as for the DIY tab itself, GIF uploading has been my bread and butter over the years for the Curtain product line. I love to find cool cosmic GIFs and loop them to create some very chill and atmospheric scenes. Or I would grab some GIFs from some of my favorite shows or games and create playlists. You can even modify a GIF by zooming in and out to create a completely different effect by using the very same file. There's just so many different angles that you can explore a product like this to truly make it yours and to keep things fresh and interesting. And again, the fixed mounting bars really go a long way from a cosmetic perspective. Overall, I think this new release really shows Govee's receptiveness to the community and their mission to strive to meet customer expectations for innovation, even though the starting MSRP for the Curtain Lights Pro at $199.99, if I'm being honest, could definitely use a little massaging. However, I do fully anticipate that we'll see things come down a bit as we draw closer to holidays like Christmas. Now that said, I do have a few ideas and suggestions that I think would benefit the Curtain Lights Pro in future iterations. Firstly, if Govee could figure out a way to add a bit more weight to the plastic straps at the base of the curtain lights, this just might be the missing piece to prevent any of the segments from twisting or curling, which can cause some of the teardrop beads to aim in different directions other than straight forward. And secondly, I'm not so sure how one would go about it, but wouldn't it be cool to have some sort of a sliding rail system for the fixed mounting bars? In theory, this would enable you to push the curtains over to the side to have full visibility through a window, for example, if the curtain lights were installed in front of it. This would also unlock additional options for installation, such as installing the curtain light in front of a sliding door or a traditional door that opens inward. But at any rate, I really want to hear you guys' thoughts down below. What do you think of Govee's latest and greatest? And do you feel that the improvements warrant an upgrade? And what are some of your favorite ways or occasions to use the Govee Curtain Lights product? As always, thanks for watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.